Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Freakin Friday Singer Songwriter Session. My name is Nicholas Kazonis, your weekly host. And today we've got Kris and DJ from Stop.Drop.Rewind.
That's me.
With a not pictured Andy Sutton.
He's around.
He's around, though.
He's somewhere.
He's crouching behind me.
Yeah, he's sitting on a cajon in
You
another
can see
room.
his little hat sticking over my shoulder.
So today we're going to be, if this is your first time ever joining in on the Singer-Songwriter Sessions, all we do is we talk about songwriting process, we play 3 tunes, and we hope you guys sit back and enjoy the process. So without further ado, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you guys are and what you do, what's your style of music, and how long you've been in formation of being a band.
Okay. Yeah, we're good at those things.
Yeah.
I can talk about myself for a while.
I'll let you get started.
How much time you got? We are a band called Stop.Drop.Rewind, and we do have a drummer, like you said.
Yes.
So if you look us up online, you'll hear some loud sounds and some quiet sounds and some more loud sounds. I play bass and I sing, and my name is Kris. And this DJ, he plays guitar and he sings. I guess I'm playing guitar today, but
Yeah, Kris is normally the bass player.
yeah, ignore that.
Sometimes he's been known to dabble in the art of these six string.
The dark arts.
The dark.
I dabble in the dark
Yes.
arts.
Been seduced by the darkness of the high B and E strings.
Ah.
Behold the might of my range of pitches.
So, how long you guys been a band?
Yeah, I didn't answer any of your
Oh
questions.
yeah,
That's okay.
I just got started on something else.
We're just doing, no, it's all jokes the whole time.
Yeah, it's pretty much all dad
Yeah,
jokes.
that's
But however, none of us are fathers.
That is, oh,
Andy is one.
Andy's a
He's
dad.
None
enough
of
dad
us.
for all
None
of
of
us.
us.
Yeah.
We're officially a dad band now.
Yes.
Oh my God, you guys are.
Yeah, we're a dad band.
I've been stocking up
sorry.
on plaid shorts for a while for this,
And
so
because
I'm
we
excited.
play Blink-182, and you saw there on the, and then Sum 41 is a dad rock band.
Yeah,
now
we
too,
did
and then-
Skater Boy once too, which is as dad rock as it
Yeah.
gets.
I do take issue with that. If you don't know what we're talking about, there's now that's what I call dad rock. The compilate, like those now, that's what I call music things. And it was like,
Right. It should just be called Now That's How I Insult DJ.
yeah, because it wasn't even like that dad, because it was like into the 2000s.
Yeah, yeah, oh,
so
yeah.
you like, the person that you would be their dad would not be old enough to be purchased. No, A, know what a CD is, or B, to purchase one, right? Because if you're 10 to 15 in 2002, unless you popped out a kid when you were like 20, which you could.
Some people did.
Yeah, but that's not that common anymore,
Right,
right?
right.
The age that people have babies has gone up. So we're like a band.
All right, so how long has Stop, Drop, Rewind been in existence?
So you really got to wrangle us.
Stop, Drop, Rewind has been a band for what, 11 years now?
I have your 10-year sticker.
That was two.
Oh yeah,
that
so
was 2.5
we're getting
years ago.
on 12 years now.
12 years.
This
yeah.
year will this fall will be the year 13.
But Kris and I have been playing together for 21 years.
Wow. And you guys are not. I know this because we're all really good friends
Right.
and family and stuff. But some of the people don't know this. You guys are not actually from the region initially.
True.
You
No,
two.
we're not. Correct.
So why don't you tell them where you're from and what you guys did, like as far as coming up in the scene and where you guys
Yeah.
were raised.
We grew up in Towson, Maryland, which is right outside of Baltimore. It's all connected at this point. It's like Chicago suburbs.
Northwest Indiana, yeah.
But much closer to the city.
Yes. Things are not 1,000 hours apart here,
Yeah.
where you Midwesterners are like, I'll drive there. It's 14 hours away.
You Midwesterners.
We started playing in, we were like 11. So, and DJ had a drum set, and our friend Mike had a guitar, and they said, hey, you play bass now.
Right?
I
I had 2 friends. One of them already had a guitar,
Yeah.
so
we were a band. We were a band, right? Because it was
So you played drums in the initial.
I did,
Yeah.
yes.
Inception. The
Yes.
inception of stuff. I never knew that. Actually.
in our
Yeah, if you hear,
pop punk, in our pop punk band and our emo band.
Actually, even through high school, like the Morningside Drive stuff, I don't know if Kris has ever showed that to you, but that was our band when we were in high school and early in college before I moved out here. And I'm playing drums on those recordings as well.
Wow. Okay.
You played drums on the
Yeah, I
the
played drums in
second
this band
Stop,
before.
Drop, Rewind demo.
Yeah.
And he did a year of drums for Stop, Drop, Rewind, like playing shows out in the area.
Just because we had another guitar player but not a drummer, and I have the skills, so.
That's really interesting to me. How do you think the DJ, like, how do you think that affected the songwriting process in terms of, like, what has become, like, the current state of, like, SDR now?
I think that my drum background has given me, like, I'm not a very good drummer anymore. I'm very out of practice, but I think my background and, like, I can still hear drum parts in my head. I can still, like, tap much more comfortably than I can around a kit, which makes it very frustrating to play, but that's a whole other thing. I feel like that background has led me to kind of consider the drum part as part of the progression. Like, it just should fit with everything in that way.
That's really interesting. Yeah, because like I know, like being Kris, you obviously play guitar and bass and sing, and we have like our music background in terms of college and that kind of stuff.
Right.
But just like being a multi-instrumentalist, and and you have a minor, right?
I do, yes.
Yeah. So like, just being a multi-instrumentalist, like I know for me it's different how I approach it comparatively to like someone who just sings and plays guitar as a singer-songwriter. Like we think maybe a little bit more outside of what the a normal like just singer-songwriter folk kind of bang some chords out, but it's all about the lyrics kind of thing.
Right.
Well,
I do that too.
yeah. Well, I think we all do, right?
Yeah,
But I
right.
think having that diversification really kind of helps open up really interesting music, which your guys' music is not your traditional like folk, just singer-songwriter kind of music.
No.
You guys kind of have all these different elements of that. And I'd like to kind of talk about some of those elements today, like where those came from.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, we're not we're not like a Nashville thing. That's like the lyrics or the song is king is like the Nashville
Yeah.
thing. We don't necessarily go with that, right? There's other things that contribute to the song. Now it all needs to go together in a final product that makes sense, right? So the lyrics and then the vocal line or everything. We don't sit down and just play like here's a chord and then you sing whatever over it, right? It's all kind of integrated and then thought out, which goes with what you said about the drums
Yeah,
too. That is a thought out like layer or integral part of the song.
Almost more compositional than songwriting, in an essence.
That is
At times, it's in there.
I mean, that's how I look at it.
I definitely, there are times when we approach it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
the possibility for that for, say, just a singer-songwriter in the traditional folk sense doesn't maybe not think, they may not think about it that way, and they have to hire a
Right.
producer or hire other musicians to help them with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
that could be a perception thing too, right? Like there's a lot of people who do a lot of interesting things with different
Right,
sounding kind of
some
music.
insanely creative folk musicians,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
single guitar players that are doing things that are just mind blowing. I mean,
But the focus is different
right, yeah.
too.
That's
It is
true as
it is
well.
about the lyrics, right?
Yeah.
And telling that story, and then that is more of it's a poem with 2 or 3 or 4 chords happening underneath it. We are thinking more compositionally, so we're building like textures or colors or like not like a symphonic movement, but like moving into the next thing or
Yeah.
building energy through the song or something like that.
Yeah. And it's not just like a standard form all the time either. Because
No.
I've been following your guys' stuff since mostly Polarity.
Yeah. That's when a lot of people kind of
I listened to Casino Song's original EP. It was like Red, right?
Yeah, black
Red and
black and
maroon.
red,
And like
yeah.
brown. Yeah.
That was like the first one I ever had. And I was listening to that. I was like, okay, I kind of see where they're going, but I want to see what that next step was. And I felt that when you guys went into Polarity, I think it started like this. It was like, okay, now the wind's spinning. Like now I
Yeah.
see where they're really starting to move towards.
Well, we picked up Andy and we picked up Roy.
And those have both been huge additions
Yeah.
to like,
Talk
every
about who
aspect
Roy
of
is.
our
I know who
process.
Roy
So
is,
a lot.
obviously,
Yeah,
but-
yeah. Okay. So we said Andy's our drummer, and then Roy Robley is our engineer / producer guy. He's our fifth Beatle, our fourth guy, who makes us sound. And he besides being good at recording and producing,
Yeah.
he also says, "Hey, that's stupid."
That,
Like,
right, what
don't
you're
do
doing,
that.
it doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
what are you doing, right? And then
Yeah.
sometimes I say, no, it does make sense, just let it roll. But frequently he's right.
Yeah.
So, and that's production side.
But that's also kind of an area where Andy has been good to have his voice in kind of the writing room and stuff. He's really good at like trimming erroneous details in a song. which is something that I think that we were able to retain the voice that Kris and I have been building songwriting through the addition of Andy. He's just helped us really refine that.
Yeah,
and get
Andy's
it into.
got a great ear.
He does. He does.
He's got
he
really
knows
cool creative ideas too.
He knows what a song needs, and he knows especially what a song does not need,
Yeah.
and can help us get rid of that. So we're just like telling the story in a concise but still, or I don't want to say innovative, but kind of pushing our own
Interesting.
boundaries. Yes, interesting.
Yeah.
Format.
And I think what's cool is like you're a multi-instrumentalist, and Andy obviously is mostly a drummer, but he also does play bass, piano, guitar.
Yeah.
So like I think looking at that through the looking glass as a band member for you guys, it's like everybody understands what everybody else's part is, but being able to also say, okay, well, let's take elements of what your part would be and say like a blues band or something of that nature, or like a standard rock band, and let's utilize that. Like from what I hear when I hear it as like, normally the drummer is like the pocket, the feel, but you guys have the ability to like hold down the feel while Andy can do something off too. So there's cool elements to when I listen to your guys' music, in the full band setting especially, where I can hear, okay, they're holding it down, but like this guy who normally in a traditional song of whatever style of rock music really kind of goes off. So, I don't know, sorry. That was a tangent, but-
That's cool. That's interesting because we have those conversations.
Yeah.
So we talk like that, right? Like we're saying, okay, this, maybe the chords are in a different tuning, so I'm not going to attempt chords right now. But like, like the chords we went over before the thing with the extensions on it. Okay, this might be from a jazz setting or harmonically more complex than a rock, but then you put like a rock. We'll say that, like, okay, we need a driving kind of rock thing, or like a,
Backbeat or
yeah,
whatever.
something like that underneath it. That also goes with what we said about building it together as a texture building or edifice building for the song.
Yeah,
too.
it's not always just a song, which is kind of ironic because this is the singer-songwriter show, but but it's almost like a piece.
Yeah.
It's like you look at it almost as a piece. So before we keep talking on this, these are some really cool topics. But I'd like to hear you guys' first song, and then maybe hear about how you guys wrote it and some of the different elements of that.
Sure.
Okay.
Which one you guys want to do first?
This is a brand new song, actually.
Okay.
We'll do the newest one first.
And what's this one called?
This is called The Joke.
The Joke.
It's called Us
And,
Tuning.
and what's really cool is I noticed throughout the social media and like the video and everything, you guys have Rodney Golson, who is our Boulevard Session winner of 2020.
I did notice that.
He actually was on our show a few weeks back. So it's pretty cool to you guys come from obviously the East Coast, but you've like really infiltrated really well into the family here, into the community. And it's really cool that like here we are just randomly talking about, music and songwriting and stuff and being a bunch of goofballs, but also having that
Certainly what we're doing.
but also having, the opportunity to do that with many different people. And so like you had Rodney in your video, right?
Yeah.
So
And
I really can't say enough, honestly, as like a Regent transplant of how welcoming people have been in this scene. And it really starts with the metal scene out here. That's where we kind of got our first sort of not at Valparaiso University shows, like off-campus type stuff, actual scene, like productive dream building
like
shows.
the venues and like the groups of people that you guys were like kind of maybe shout some of them out?
Yeah, a lot of them are closed now.
they're like
All the Royal
it's like
Skates.
but
way
even before that,
dude.
yeah,
okay.
Camelot Bowl. There was a hookah lounge.
Man, you guys are going back to
Oh
when I
yeah,
was
no,
playing.
I'm talking way
Really?
back.
Lake
yeah.
Station Eagles.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Java Gyms in LaPorte.
Ooh, good one.
Barn Bash in Knox was like a
even
big
better.
one.
Great shows.
Which
and
a lot of these places aren't even doing it anymore.
no, they're not. And I mean, we could talk about how hard it is to keep a venue, especially one focused on
I
local
think
music,
we should touch
afloat.
on that because I think a lot of the people watching are obviously supporters of music, and we are so grateful, by the way.
Oh, truly.
But what's really interesting to me is I don't think people really get to hear that enough from musicians. Like they hear, you hear the starving artist, the struggling musician, but they really don't realize that, music is allowing a nest of growth outside of just your normal infrastructure of social things, it also allows people to have that voice of being an individual and saying and being who they want to be. By taking away some of these shows and these different venues and not having the support, people that are writing this kind of music are not going to have that opportunity to do so.
Yeah,
Right.
the community's being taken away from them. I mean, that was a big part of it for us growing
The
up.
community was a big thing. Taken away is not quite like nobody came in and said you
That's
can't have.
true, too.
That's true.
We gotta watch. Yeah, because it
That's a good
went
point.
away.
Yes.
There was already concern before everything then became shut down, and you can't stuff 100 kids into a basement right now. Anyway, right?
Yeah, right now for sure. Yeah,
but
I guess I
outside
didn't
of
mean
that-
reference to COVID. I just meant in
No,
general.
no. But I that was important to clarify because it's as a community thing or like a minor social, right? Like having a healthy music scene is like a social movement, not for like a cause, but it's people coming together to do something they like.
It's the same thing as like what people go to church for or synagogue.
Yes.
It's a communal thing.
That's a spicy take we can get into because you're right. But I don't want to get a bunch of hate mail. People have to want to be there, and it was already sort of flagging, right? And then COVID happened. Plus, it's just hard around here that the area that is the scene, and we learned this when we moved out here, is like a 3-county area, and also people include like Chicago or like we try to go play. It's huge. You can't expect a lot of teenagers up to 21-ish to go out to somewhere an hour and 10 minutes away like every weekend.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them. And you can't, that's how the region is planned, right? Yeah, everybody has cars, there's roads, and all the towns really far apart.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really have a venue. We were kind of leaning into this, having a venue thing.
Yeah.
We're making it work as playing professional musicians because places that are bars and restaurants have steady income and they also want to have music.
Yes, which has been like wonderful places like
Yes.
Region Ale
Yeah.
and those kinds of places are doing great things for the music community. And there's many. I mean, Elements
ton,
Wine Bar
yeah.
and Valpo is
We do Zorn in Michigan City
Zorn
like a
in
lot.
Michigan
yeah.
City.
Yep, Square Roots too.
Square Roots, yeah. Lots of great spots. I know Up Your Alley is having music. Well, prior to COVID, or no, the beginning of COVID rather, they were doing 7 nights a week. Now
Yeah.
they've gone down, I think, to 3 temporarily.
It's
for
a
the
lot.
winter.
Yeah,
So
but there's
it's a lot.
there's
so.
2 acts every Saturday.
And I know,
Yeah.
and I mean, they're a business to keep the door open. So,
Yeah.
like, they have to have money
Yeah,
coming
absolutely.
in, right? That is different than what we were talking about, too, which
Mm-hmm.
is getting a bunch of people who want to, there's no external money driver, which is why they go away
Yeah.
really fast. But that's a different experience, right? Like, it's nice to go out and see your buddy's band at a bar and drink some beers and sing Chumbawamba and get wild and do whatever. That is not the same experience for the bands, the community, or the listener as 5 bands at a VFW or even a more legitimate, like a Big Shots, a place with a stage and a sound guy and a light thing.
Where it's the purpose, the sole purpose is not for ambiance.
Right. It's a
but
venue, it's a
rather
venue.
for actual,
Yes.
Right, you go to hear music.
A
That's why you're
perform-
there.
you're
The
going
only,
there for
well,
a
only the art
performance.
theater is the only place in the area right now. The Hobart Art Theater is the only place in the area doing it right now, right? Like as a dedicated venue. Am I missing anything? It's hard. It's hard to keep track right now.
It's
'cause
hard to
nothing's
keep
open.
track because yes, there's a few others that are doing it, but because of what's actually open, I think Hobart Art,
Yeah.
to my knowledge, would be the only one.
Right.
But I'm sure that, and I apologize if I'm missing or that
Yeah.
we're missing one. But there are venues that are kind of popping up,
Yeah.
struggling to make it work. But
And
Yeah,
it's tough.
tag them. If you are watching this, tag them. We want to see.
yeah, we want all the musicians to see it, and we want all the viewers and listeners and all that, and also give them just some recognition.
Absolutely.
But about this first song, so let's talk about.
I told you, man. You gotta wrangle us.
Oh no, man! This is like the guys will tell you. We've shout out to all my guys here at Region Buzz. We got Chase, Aiden, and Ben doing the video and the audio. But at any rate, back to this tune. So, where did this song come from lyrically?
Lyrically, sort of. Actually, us talking about local shows kind of fits into this nicely. It's the feeling of the lyrics of this song are sort of about the feeling that I get being almost 32 and playing in like a stuffed or maybe empty VFW hall with a bunch of 17-year-old bands.
You will be 32 basically when this video comes out.
Yes, correct.
Your birthday's the next day.
The next day.
I will already be 32
I'll already
when
be
the video comes
32.
out.
I will be just about 32.
If you thought we were cool, young guys, I'm sorry.
Right, but
You
we'll
know how
still
much
come
Blink-182
It only gets
and
worse.
play in your backyard.
We will
with your
come
band.
play in your backyard.
We want to so
Please.
bad,
Oh my God.
so bad we want to. But yeah, this is kind of what that's about, and you can, there's positive feelings, there's negative feelings. You can kind of take away. A lot of people have experiences like I have with music here, and I like to make it so that they can relate to it as well. I'm not telling you my story, I'm telling you a story that you can then apply. So anybody who's like feeling older, out of place with what they're doing, but don't want to stop doing it is kind of, I hope, will be able to relate to what we're saying here.
Cool. Well, without further ado, here is
The joke.
the joke.
So often lost, just feeling sorry. Never could admit to being wrong. Ran myself ragged, shaped myself jagged, wrote it all down, and now it's gone. I don't cry, nobody talks me off the ledge. I don't mind, you might be right to say I've lost my edge. Some things don't come naturally, where do you see the joke's on? Kind words post catastrophe, better days come but they don't come free. Speak in generalities, the look of practice apathy. Some things don't come naturally, where do you see the joke's on? Where do you see the joke's on me? To see what's happening, as my conscience always moves so slow. So tired from stumbling and constant humbling, makes me the best at laying low. I don't cry, nobody talks me off the ledge. I don't mind, you might be right to say I've lost my edge. Some things don't come naturally, where do you see the joke's on? Kind words post catastrophe, better days come but they don't come free. Speak in generalities, the look of practice apathy. Some things don't come naturally, where do you see the joke's on? Where do you see the joke's on? Cry, I don't mind, I tell myself, wish that I wanted something else, but it's alright, I'm just surprised, thought I was getting better, but now I'm only getting by. Some things don't come naturally, where do you see the joke's on? Kind words post catastrophe, better days come but they don't come free. Speak in generalities, the look of practice apathy. Some things don't come naturally, where do you see the joke's on? Where do you see the joke's on? Where do you see the joke's on me?
Killer song, dudes. I appreciate that one.
Thank you.
So I really like where you didn't say who the joke was on until the very, very ending. Can we talk about some of the songwriting techniques you guys did
Yeah.
lyrically as well as musically?
Sure.
Yeah.
And maybe talk a little bit about what the process was like.
Okay. I'm trying to like remember. We've been sitting on a lot of music for a while. Besides with COVID stuff, we're trying to work on like a long-term plan. Anyway, yeah, boring. I'm trying to remember. This is one of the ones that we knew what it was going to be about from the start, right? So we've kind of worked in tandem.
Yeah. So you had a lot of the music done when you pitched it to me. I think you had a head, a verse, and a chorus.
I had like the whole, yeah.
And I feel like I got a vocal line kind of right away. So you were playing that, and I was kind of going, but in the right key.
You were right.
Oh, hey, nice.
So you created the harmonic structure, meaning the chords and the rhythm and the feel, but you approached the melody then?
Yeah. The melody, I pretty much had a vocal melody throughout the entire song before I had any lyrics, I think.
Okay.
But we tried
is
to go...
that typical or atypical?
That is, we kind of do it a lot of different ways.
We're all over the place. Yeah.
So sometimes
that's been the going thing with everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's so, it's diverse in how they write it.
Sometimes I do the Paul McCartney, scrambled eggs or whatever thing where you just sing about nonsense.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was doing here. And oftentimes, this is difficult to explain. I don't know if I've ever successfully explained this before, but when I'm saying these nonsense words, kind of the syllables that go with the melody,
You're exactly like me.
Come to me in that moment, yeah. So, and that is kind of where I get to...
And then you kind of develop, sometimes you do that and you kind of develop the story off of those syllables. So it's like, ooh, that sounds like cloud. Ooh, what can I say about a cloud? And what's that, how does that foreshadow what I'm thinking,
Sometimes you get stuck in a rut that way too. I have to you gotta balance, when you have a lightning bolt versus when you're manufacturing a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this one, we had the whole vocal melody, and then I think we kind of got the chorus, but Kris kind of touched on this already. We already kind of knew based on just how, the sound of the chords, the color that you were producing, the texture, and like everything about that. We sort of set the tone for this to be sort of a lighthearted, maybe like sneakily kind of sad song.
Well, we knew what we wanted it to do.
Yes.
Too. So we're also working big picture sometimes.
Can you explain that? Because I don't think I understand.
Your music is, people sort of don't do this now, but our music is intended to be heard like all together, like an album would be. Mm-hmm. We attempted to use the singles market to an artistic advantage, right? Or to
singles
to do
as
a thing.
In single songs.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. And also, we have sex with strangers at bars. No, when people listen to like on Spotify or like Apple Music or something like that, the music industry has transitioned back to a singles-based market and not an album-based market, which it started there. Mm-hmm. So people who complain about the music industry killing albums are not correct.
No.
It just is doing that thing.
It's doing the cycle thing like it typically does every 20 to 30 years.
However, since we grew up with albums, we are partial to them. Let's not discount that. And then there is a thing that albums can do that you can't get from just a playlist or just picking random songs, which is you let an artist like spin up either into like a mood or like a vibe or however you want to say it. But there's definitely songs that are like some of my favorite songs by artists that if I just listen to it, if you had just heard it by itself in a playlist, like a Spotify mix or whatever, you would not care about that song because it was like a B-side. But it's in that, there's like the single, and then there's like a quiet song, and then there's like this, so you're in the zone. It's like the 8th track of the album, and now they put out there's this other thing that comes out, and you're like, this song's amazing! And you get hyped for it when that other song ends. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Listen to albums, you're familiar with that. That is important to me to preserve that aspect of music listening, because you can make more of an impact with a song than you could otherwise. Mm-hmm. The trick is to get everyone to then listen to your stuff as an album. So we're pretty public about it is supposed to be an album. In 2019, we decided to say, okay, the industry's in singles, so we did an album full length in 2018, and the publicist said, "You dumb. Please don't do that." Because she couldn't get it. She couldn't sell it, right? So we said
I'm going through that now with
Yeah.
the Kazonas
It's
band.
tough.
They're like,
Who's
you
the bassist for that band?
That is Kris.
Oh,
Yeah, the whole reason that band is in formation is because
my
Kris
God.
is the bass player.
that's true.
what an unfortunate situation to be in.
I'll interview myself.
I've spent the last 21 years in that exact
Yep.
situation.
So we put out singles, right? But the goal was to always have them be at the end to go together into like an EP. So we're doing 6, but it's been kind of broken up because of everything. We couldn't go in the studio, and then we weren't meeting to rehearse and all that stuff.
The world shit the bed last year. You might have heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, are we allowed to swear on this? I think I did.
We can. I don't typically, but you guys are fine.
Duty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys are okay.
The world made a big old mess of the bed. The messy ass bed, 2020.
So we knew that we wanted to do an acoustic song. We hadn't done a straight up acoustic recording before. That was not a Christmas song. We have an acoustic Christmas song, and am I forgetting one? Anything? We did.
You did an acoustic version of Casino Song before.
There's an acoustic. That's the thing too. Is we said we've played on and off as an acoustic duo for 15 years. For 15 years now, we sound okay. Hopefully, why not do the? And it's actually even more stripped down than that because DJ barely plays. We weren't gonna have him play any guitar.
Yeah, we wrote
and,
that lead
and Roy,
in the
our
studio.
producer, wrote that thing.
I wrote that thing.
Oh, right. Roy said do a thing.
Yeah, Roy said you need a thing. I wrote that,
Yeah.
and then we laid it down.
So when I said we're thinking big picture also, we're not thinking about just, I had this cool riff idea. We're thinking, what do we need?
Would have round out the album.
Yeah. What do we need for the context, and what do we need for then the band too? It's like, okay, well, we need a video to come out, this our single or something, like, right? We're thinking that way a lot of the time too. This one we kind of knew, like a lot of the singles are also like autobiographical-ish.
To an extent.
Floating Stone.
None of
then-
my lyrics are about, like, one thing.
I shouldn't have said autobiographical. DJ doesn't like it when you say that.
No, well, it's...
I meant it was, because we responded to industry pressure and did all these singles. That, like, being a band stuff is going to come out in those singles.
Yeah, I'm going for something that you'll be able to apply in your life, and I like to think that Kris immediately recognizes that it's about band stuff because he's applying it to his life, and it just happens to be that we have a shared experience.
I do say that. I mean, I know Open Water isn't, like, I know what Open Water is about.
Right.
But you can sort of make that case for it, too.
You can make the case for Floating Stone as well.
Love No Medicine definitely is. I know Words and Scary Stories is not.
No, not at all.
That's a little more political guy, but which is cool.
Is it political to want to be told the truth by people who are in positions of power?
Well,
Is that a political statement?
it has become more political as the things you were talking about reveal themselves to be much worse than I think you thought when you wrote it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely, in our current climate, I think everybody, no matter what side you're on, there's definitely polarization in views.
Correct.
And so, that's just a part of human experience, and I think that it's okay for people to talk about that,
Right. Well, I go, for Words and Scary Stories, I go more on the news angle with your lyrics than the the leadership
that's what
angle.
It is. That's
okay.
what it. Yeah, it is.
I mean, you could make the case for after the absolute disaster mishandling of this whole thing from the top down. Like, you could make that case for that too, right?
Oh, sure.
It's like,
yeah, I mean, it continues to become more and more applicable. But I was more focused when we wrote that song on the media.
Yeah. And
standards that exist.
I
there.
got
everything affects everything else. No matter
True
what.
as well. Yeah.
It's just, that's just the world we live in. Well, cool. I mean, that's great. Let's talk about the next tune. What's the next one you guys want to do?
Well, it's called Words and Scary Stories.
It's
All
the
right.
song.
All right. Well, there we go.
Yep.
Just words and scary stories. The sound is so distorted, it's not even real. Just maps of territories. History is allegory, the story is sealed. Woo! price for a cup of coffee. It starts fine, then it crosses the line. This presentation holds the weight of your name. What's the word for a copy of a copy? Hard lines, there's a room to imply. It's not a lie, but the truth is empty all the same. What's the word for a copy of a copy? With no original to find. Feels fine till it crosses a line. It's up to you to decide when you've seen enough of word is scary stories. The sound is so distorted, it's not even real. So maps and territories. History is allegory, the story is sealed. What a glorious deal. Set aside what you're trying to find, bringing monsters to life and defeating them. First time that it enters your mind, no one's feeding you lies, you're just eating them. You're just eating them. We pay the price for being creatures of habit. Turn lies into carnival rides. Twist you in circles till you're sick from the spin. Repeat the process till it's automatic. Go blind to the scales in your eyes. You spill your guts and then you ride it again. What's the price of a cup of coffee? Exactly what you had in mind. Turn lies into carnival rides. It's up to you to decide when you've seen enough of word and scary stories. The sound is so distorted, it's not even real. Some maps and territories. History is allegory, the story is sealed. What a glorious deal. Set aside what you're trying to find, bringing monsters to life and defeating them. The first time that it enters your mind, no one's feeding you lies, you're just eating them. You're just eating them.
Nick Kazonis on the guitar.
Oh yeah.
Nailed it.
Set aside what you're trying to find by bringing monsters to life and defeating them. The first time that it enters your mind, no one's feeding you lies, you're just eating them. Set aside what you're trying to find by bringing monsters to life and defeating them.
Be
The
done.
first time that it enters your mind, no
Generations
one's feeding you
gone.
lies, you're just
As
eating
soon as
them.
the next one comes,
Set aside what you're trying to find,
forgotten
but
past,
monsters
we
alive,
all become.
First time
Fill
that it enters your
up
mind,
the
you
seas.
lies, you're just
The
eating
rivers and streams still run.
Set aside
Chase
what you're trying to
after
find,
wind,
monsters
spin
alive, defeating
round the sun.
First
What
time that it enters
has
your
been
mind,
done
you lies,
will be done.
You're just eating them. What's a fair price for a cup of coffee? Everything is a copy of a copy. What's a fair price for a cup of coffee? Everything is a copy of a copy. Just word to scary stories.
So, very cool. I dig that one.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
There's this cool line at the end of that one where you guys did this kind of counterpoint local thing.
With the vocals?
The vocal thing,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Can you talk to me about where that would have, like how you would have thought to write something like that?
Oh,
So-
have you ever heard of emo?
Yes,
bands?
it's emo music. It is 1000%
Yeah.
emo music. I
Okay.
think you were
See-
looking for like, box fugues and stuff, but no, that's 1000% because we like emo.
Okay.
It's absolutely a Take Back Sunday or like a brand
That's very
new.
interesting because I've,
Yeah.
you know that I'm not very much
Right.
fluent, I should say, in the emo stuff very much at
Yeah,
all.
if you came up how we came up, that part makes perfect sense
Yeah.
to you.
Okay.
And there's actually if we could do like a demo. Play because we're mixing.
We're doing a
stuff-
demo. We're
mixing-
taking a lesson, everybody.
We're mixing a couple of of styles here, right? It's like the totally pop.
Yeah,
All-time pop chords because it's just.
Oh yeah, there's the minor four in there, which everybody knows I have a soft spot for minor fours.
It's just 1 to 4 is the main harmony here.
Yeah, I
We've
juice it a little bit with
we've
some finger
broken it up
picking.
to this like nice thing that DJ has.
That almost reminded me of the voicing is the same as the Beatles.
Is that Blackbird?
It is, but that's so that and. Yeah.
But that's because, but it's not Blackbird.
Right.
But the pattern is very similar, so that
Now, that's like
this is kind of where I want to go into is it's familiar enough to where it's like, oh, that sounds kind of like
Right.
So
Well,
then it makes it someone attached to it, right?
It's an established technique too.
Yeah. So but what it does is it attaches people to it. So like, are you conscious when you write that? Is my question.
no, not of like, this will grab the Beatles fans' ears or whatever.
No.
Okay.
But we have noticed in our time playing together, we kind of, especially in our earlier stuff, would kind of jump from genre to genre mid-song, a little Latin breakdown in the middle of our prog song and stuff like that. And lately, it's more just kind of incorporating those influences into the music we're already making rather than just like dropping a Latin section in a song. But either way, the result has been that people our audience just hears what they want to hear when they hear us. We've been told you guys sound just like David Bowie, and I really like David Bowie. But I wouldn't say that there's a ton of discernible David Bowie influence in our music.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, right? Or
I mean, it's not weird. I think it's really
cool.
interesting.
It's really cool
Yeah.
that people, are listening to our music, and obviously, especially with the David Bowie comparison, I was flattered, but confused, but flattered.
Yeah, last night I was playing, and someone came up to me and talked about how I sound just like Tyrone Davis. And most people don't know who that is unless they're into like the '80s R&B of thing, blues thing. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I don't sound anything like Tyrone Davis. But for some reason, he felt that I sounded like Tyrone Davis, And I'm like, well, is that because of the elements of blues and soul that I play?
Right.
Or, and so like you have to kind of like think about those things.
As long as it's something that they like, so you're like relating to them, that is a win.
Totally.
Yeah. So that like young musicians, like songwriters, that kind of feedback is great because it shows that people are relating to you. Don't make the common mistake of thinking, okay, now I need to do Tyrone Davis.
Right.
Oh yeah, no.
That's kind of what I wanted to transition into.
Okay.
You teach. DJ, do you teach as well?
I don't.
Okay. All right. For some reason, I wasn't sure if you did or not. And I teach. So like as a teacher, like when you're talking to like the younger songwriters or musicians, take everything with a grain of salt. Would you agree with that?
Like feedback wise?
Yes.
Yeah. Your best bet is ripping off stuff that you like for a while, right? That's how everybody who you like.
Find your
that's
influences.
How they started to, right.
Learn the vocabulary of that style.
So
or
learn a bunch of them, but then also try to write. Which we're lucky we did that organically. We just sort of assumed that's what you did. But it is good advice too. And don't try to do something that you don't like either. Not just if it's because, or you think someone said, oh, you sound like this, and you listen to it and you're like, I hate this. You don't have to play that.
Right, just because you sound like that to them doesn't mean you sound like that to everybody either,
But to clarify, I think you mean play it publicly. Like you try something at home, maybe in your practice that wouldn't be of a style or something that you're necessarily.
Oh yeah. I meant from a writing your own music perspective.
Just to clarify, because
Yeah.
I don't want anybody misconstruing that, because you absolutely should listen to music you don't like and learn music you don't like, because you're going to find elements in that you can pull over into.
Right.
Maybe not the guitar tone or the drums or like the screaming vocals, whatever.
Right.
But there's definitely elements to that music that you can take to attach to your own stuff, to actually, utilize in your own way.
Yeah, the more you can do, the more you're going to work as a musician.
Right. Yeah. You're not too good to play. So I didn't mean that. You're not too good to play.
I just wanted to clarify.
You got to it's nice to get paid to play your instrument too. So the more styles you learn, the more people will want to pay you to play your instrument.
Yes, so that you can afford to
then work on
do your own
music,
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that you
that's
like.
something that
That's
I think
good.
that was a point that I wanted to make sure we kind of
Definitely.
with.
Definitely.
So as far as that goes, that was my one main question.
It's an emo thing, and there's a third layer. So
We can't do it because there's only two of us.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, I know it
I
because
was
I've
going to
heard
talk
the
about.
song
I was going
many
to talk
times.
about that too, because like we do arrange the stuff for the acoustic version of the songs too. So like I don't.
We do most of our writing on acoustic guitars.
Yeah. So
interesting.
and that section is a good example.
Rodney
There
was
is
talking
that-
last week about, or not last week, a few weeks ago, about how he likes writing sometimes on piano, just because the
Oh, I do that
voicings
too,
are like
yeah.
more. And I'm like, oh, that was because I brought up that back in the day, him and I had done a few of those Monday night open mics that
Right.
we've done, and he was there, and he actually had brought a piano, and I was like, I typically have only seen you do that once. He's like, yeah, but I write a lot of my stuff on piano. So
Yeah.
if I was writing something close to that time, I brought out the piano to kind of just like voice it different and try it
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Love that dude.
I'm trying to think. Oh, so that part is a big long build to the end. Then it actually lands on just the 1 to the 4 at the end when the vocals come in with the shout thing.
yeah. So you extended the harmonic rhythm, meaning you doubled the chords, kind of thing.
And there's the walk up, right? I can't do it because DJ's part.
Maybe you should let DJ do it.
And then I start the repeated line. Set aside what you're trying to find by bringing monsters to life and defeating them.
Sing
And it's
it,
low.
sing it.
The first time that it enters your mind, no one's feeding you lies, you just see them. And he comes in with the actual content. Set aside what you're trying to find.
been
monsters to
done,
life,
what
defeat them.
will
And I'm just adding
done.
one chord to fill it out.
Generations
Feeding you lies, you just see
As
them.
soon as the next
Scary
one comes,
stories. That comes in the last time. It's like a third line.
Okay.
Then I have this. So DJ's line changes every time, so that's the main melody. The vocals come in, there's a third line. We're just scary stories.
Chase
And the drum start.
wind spin round.
Just we're just scary stories.
What has been done will be done.
You're just eating them. And then it lands.
Very cool.
Then it's anthemic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which it is just, you can break it apart like theoretically like that. That is basically all emo conventions.
Okay.
Just kind of mishmashed together with like,
Now, does that derive, and this is kind of a little bit off the tangent, but just a question just for myself, is that derived from like the whole gang vocal from like the punk era?
yeah.
Yeah,
When
I
I
think
was
so.
growing up? Because I remember that kind of thing was like big.
Yeah, they do
It's-
that too.
There's gang vocals. There's also the fact that none of the tastemakers were very good at writing songs or playing their instruments, and so they would just be singing over each other. Because sometimes, I'm trying to think of a Take Back Sunday song where they like sometimes they sing the same thing and then it like breaks off into other lines, and it becomes a stylistic choice after the fact, right?
So speaking on that, is that something, obviously that is a classical technique like you had mentioned, I like thinking Bach for you kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking was like, was there a classical, because both you guys have a musical background in terms of education. But so since it came from an emo thing then, would you say that the influence of bands like you said, Take It Back Sunday
is, yeah.
are those some of like what you try to, it's your influence in terms of composition, but are you guys, would you consider yourselves in the same genre?
Yeah, I mean, that's the language we're speaking.
Right,
That is
okay.
the musical vocabulary of our songwriting process is derived from that genre, I think. Obviously, we've riffed on that and tweaked it. And
We tend
you
to
know,
default to that kind
But
of
yeah,
sound.
if we don't know what to do if we hit a roadblock in songwriting, we're gonna do a big old chorus or like a big gangy, shouty, anthemic vocal line type of thing. Because if we're stuck, that's the answer. And then Andy's like, no, that's stupid, and then we write a real part.
Yeah.
But
He'll like that.
Not pictured in the video.
Yeah,
Andy Sutton.
That now I will like we are more aware of what we're saying. Let's use this thing where like they were all amateur musicians just playing in church basements when that style was developed. Like actual emo grew out of like DC hardcore, and so it has a lot of those elements, like '90s emo, if we want to gatekeep it. But then the mainstream stuff grew out of people listening to those bands' demo tapes, basically that went around like the country.
right, the music was written for where it would be performed, which is, a big raucous church basement
Yeah,
or like
or like a
dive
VFW or
bar,
something. Yeah.
VFW type place where, you know, it
That's
may
how we
not
connected in Northwest Indiana.
And
so,
it's an Eagles club.
Yeah,
Oh!
it may, you know, it may not be the best songwriting choice, and it may not, you know, when they got to the studio, they might have been a little surprised with how it was functioning. But when there's two guys getting rowdy on stage, jumping around, screaming both vocal lines at the entire crowd, they're getting wild, and it's working.
Right.
So they make it work on the album.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
See,
because you guys always say like the pop punk.
Yeah.
But I hear you guys as a pop punk progressive band.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
definitely but like, so because you guys are almost, you're doing like the modern thing where you're mixing styles, but from a standpoint of like, who are you really trying to get? Are you trying to get both? And how do you do that from a marketing?
We'll touch, because we talk about that a lot also.
Okay.
The finish of that other thought is, it is more, from us, it is more classically oriented when we do, because we say, okay, we want to do a Taking Back Sunday style double vocal thing, but then we
Use your education.
we like it's. You notice those are in different registers.
Yes.
They're rhythmically different. Like I'm repeating stuff and he's saying do new content. So like it is more organized, and it is how you would build a section like that in classical music, where you have your exposition, your theme, right, and then you iterate on it, and then you iterate on like and you do a
really music nerd
you do a
here.
variation, and then you add a variation. So the harmonic structure is the same, but the melody gets added.
So it's theme
on
and
top.
variation,
Yeah.
it's Beethoven-y. Yeah.
Which is absolutely not what those guys were thinking at all. Like
Oh,
let's
yeah.
not.
No.
And we're not really either. We're just have a lot of training,
Yeah,
and
we're
like
very
adults.
like I feel very blessed and grateful to have the education because my parents allowed me the opportunity to do so. So why not use it?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not like
Yeah. No,
like we just.
I think people get the wrong impression.
it sounds
of that.
like it sounds like a mess if you sing over each. Like I get that. That's sold at that time. We separate those two vocal, and we do the double vocals a lot. We want to what you said.
Yeah. Sorry.
I still
and my
think
question
we're
was like
about progressive and pop punk.
progressive pop punk or prog rock. You know, how do you define genre wise? And that sort of thing.
I guess we can go on record because it's not like a hot take or a secret or anything. But like we kind of drop. We haven't changed the music that much. The singles were a little bit.
I mean, they were
lighter
singles, so they should
for
sound
us,
like singles.
right?
You know, we're not.
Our back catalog of music is the same stuff we've been doing
Yes.
the whole time, and we have studio time in March and April to get an EP out. We're singles, whatever, fine.
Yeah.
We're doing an EP because we like when music goes together. It's going to be over 30 minutes. It's going to be It's going to be like Polarity again.
Hell yes.
Like length, like that. It's a set expectation, right? It's not as long as Element and Aftermath, but the point is you'll start at the beginning and you go to the end and you like all the things that happen, and we're fleshing it out to be a listening experience like that. We've kind of dropped the progressive branding, I guess, because it was not getting us anything, and I think it was confusing people.
We're not prog enough for the prog kids, and that's okay. You know, we're making music that we like, and we stand by it still. You know, if you want to listen to guitar shred for a full half hour, you're not going to care for our music. And that's fine. There's plenty of music where that happens.
Since we don't really sound like any pop punk bands
no.
either.
Yeah, you guys are very much similar to like how Caught on Klein is with my
Right,
project,
right.
Caught on Klein. Like we mix so many different elements within just one song. Not even to mention our albums.
Yeah.
Like people are like, well, what kind of band are you? I'm like,
We've-
jam band.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've been saying nerd rock because it gets people they understand like the vibe. The problem with that is there's not really any big nerd like that Nerf Herder band is like the nerd rock band,
Right.
but nobody's heard of them. But it's hilarious.
Yeah, and you can say, you know, Weezer has the elements of,
Weezer
of
does.
nerd rock, and everybody knows who that is.
And we like Ludo has that, or Motion City Soundtrack, because they have like songs about like playing video games or like
Eating
getting a
crawfish.
pizza from like and trying to get a girl like nerd rock stuff. But that doesn't solve mainstream audience does not know what progressive means.
Yeah.
Because we encountered that.
Oh, they
So-
do. They just think it's Rush.
Yeah, so we were calling it
Well, but
progressive
that's not
power
really.
pop.
People are like, "What's progressive?" We were so, and
Yeah.
honestly, that's still what we.
Yes,
are.
that is what it is.
Or progressive power pop or progressive pop punk / emo. And with your comment about synthesizing, not in a we're geniuses way. Let's not, but in a similar fashion to how Rush and Yes and King Crimson and like all those bands took psychedelic and hard blues rock music that they grew up with and playing in church basements and like VFWs, right? That's the music they played in the late 60s. And then in the 70s, they put classical and jazz elements and headier philosophical concepts on top of that framework. We grew up in church basements and VFWs playing emo and pop punk music and screamo bands. And then later, we have taken jazz and classical elements
and prog rock elements as well.
and then also
prog,
elements
yeah.
of because we like that, we're very influenced by that as well. But so when I say progressive, I mean it in that way where we're
Right,
taking,
not necessarily prog,
Okay.
but progressive.
yeah, we're not prog the genre, because that would be like that has become almost inseparable from progressive metal,
Yes.
which we are not.
No, you guys are not.
We like a
You're
lot of
not
that
metal.
music too.
I love the Contortionist, Intervals, Animals Leaders. I listen to a lot of Chan, although they're not prog metal.
Right.
They have like that, like neo soul thing, and like all the guitar, right? You keep
the
this
Nick
bar, and
Cazonas band stuff.
you keep it all barred, right? And then you do this thing too. But we use those elements, but we aren't shredding for 30 minutes like DJ said. In that way, it is more, this is a song with a chorus focused than some other bands. And
Right, I still like catchy music. You know, I still like big hooks and anthemic choruses or outros that you can all get frothy and shout along with
like
at a show
yeah.
and stuff. You know, I want that.
I want to touch on something that I've been actually meaning to pick your brain about for a while, actually. And this is kind of ties into what we're going and moving towards is lyrically specifically. When you're approaching lyrics, are you thinking of them in terms of the audience that you're writing the song about? That's kind of vague. How do I explain this a little bit better? So like pop punk, like are you using contexts of, like you guys had Soldier, Super Soldier, which was I think I asked you before. I was listening and I was like, it's just about playing Halo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of like a 45-year-old mom's not going to know what Halo is,
Right.
other than her son's playing it when he should be doing his homework. But like the thing, do you write lyrics specifically for the pop punk community or this power punk? Do you write it for that specifically?
So intent wise, no. I am baseline writing what I feel.
Okay.
But because I came up in that genre,
That's the experiences you're writing about.
Well, and that's the language I've heard used in songs. So I'm not like ripping every bleeding heart metaphor from every My Chemical Romance song that's ever been. But I do like that music, and so if I'm feeling sad, I might, tend to go towards that metaphorical realm,
Okay.
where those are the images I'm pulling from. Those are like sort of the bank of metaphor and imagery that you choose from when you're writing a song. That's just the vocabulary that we're dealing with, I think, for a lot of this music. But I would say that I'm trying to write relatable lyrics that even if you're not into pop punk, you should be able to understand and hopefully get something from, beyond just like this band plays too many notes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
we don't hit a lot of pop punk thematic stuff.
Yeah, I
all the
like
time,
this town. I'm gonna stay.
But
I get along with my parents.
But-
I'll pretty much always have.
while we talk about like branding or like talking about do a long conversation about like what the genre is and like what that means and like and we think about things that are outward facing and like branding focused. We are we're still suckers and like write music to express ourselves. Like,
Of course,
right?
of course.
Like we don't. There's no target audience for our music besides like ourselves at like a fundamental. Like, I want to pay my bills and eat food, so like we have to sell T-shirts and play shows and all that stuff. But there's not a people like a song about this, so let's write a song about. There's not. We're not doing that.
So do you ever write songs that are?
It's always like, this is a cool idea that we like. Let's play
And
this.
you build off of
Yeah,
it.
and then
okay.
what's that trying to say, or
Yeah.
what is
So
like what
let's
does
talk
it make
about
you
that
feel?
then. Let's talk about, because that kind of answers my question that I was going to ask. But let's deviate from that question, and I'm going to talk about the process in which you actually. You said you kind of like or do the same thing as me. You're like blah 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 blah. You know,
Yeah.
And you know, you have the kind of like the melodies there. Sometimes the lyrics come first, sometimes the music comes first, you know, like however you approach it.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically when you're writing lyrics, do you guys ever find specific tools that are in your toolkit to say like, okay, let me brainstorm about everything that could potentially rhyme with heart, or or maybe even, okay, how can I describe sadness but do it in a metaphorical way where it's symbolic to something that would be representation of the sky? You know what I'm
to an
saying
extent,
there?
yeah, to an extent. So I use a website called Rhyme Zone a lot. So
Amen.
and
Make sure you use that for
yes,
songwriting.
indeed. So I kind of this lately. This kind of started when we were writing Space Force. That writing process, we got a lot of the punchlines first, because that song is a joke. But I've applied that to the serious music first.
It's a humorous song.
That song is a humorous
It's
piece.
not a joke.
A humorous but serious.
We don't want to
piece.
mix joke
Yes.
and
It's humorous.
It is a piece. Yes. So Space Force is what it is, and there are punchlines that are intended to be funny.
Yeah.
What I'm doing now is I sort of get not necessarily the funny punchline, but like if we're writing a sad song, I call it the dagger. You know, this is where where we really get you with the sadness. That that last couplet where it's like, oh my God, that's devastating. That comes first.
Because we're emo.
That comes
and
first.
you build around it.
And then I build to that, or
Okay.
and then from there I'll get maybe the first part of the phrase. I know I want it to rhyme. We had this with the single that we're releasing probably in April called Dinosaur Bones. I had half of the second verse written. It's never quite the rush that he remembers. He's digging up another empty gesture. And then I knew I wanted something about the line I wanted, the dagger, is about a sunken tar pit heart. So I was looking for something that rhymed with heart. Mm-hmm. Couldn't find anything that
Could've
like
used
was saying
fart.
what. Oh yeah, there are lots of things that rhyme with fart, but I was like, nothing is fitting. Nothing's fitting, and I was digging, looking on Rhyme Zone, scrolling rhymes, near rhymes. I love near rhymes. It makes your listener real uncomfortable, which is like my greatest joy in life. But yeah, so I ended up having to move heart to the middle of the phrase, and the line is blind to what he's lost. His sunken tar pit heart keeps plodding on. So, because I can make that rhyme and still say what I'm trying to say.
Do you think, because what was your actual major in school?
English.
So do you think that the whole literature aspect is definitely held over into building you as a musician?
Absolutely. And a lot of our lyrics, or my lyrics, will reference literature or often the Bible. Actually, in Words and Scary Stories, I'm pretty sure I sang a passage from Ecclesiastes. I can't remember exactly in the bridge there, but yeah, actually Words and Scary Stories is a great example. The central metaphor for the lyrics, maps and territories, or maps versus territories. That's from a reading I did in college about. It's by French philosopher named Jean Baudrillard. He had this whole thing basically about how reality isn't as much what is happening as how it's perceived. So the symbol being the territory, being the actual place, is being replaced by the map, which is like the representation of the territory. And that's kind of, that's what I'm drawing a lot of the metaphors from those lyrics from. I mean, I do
cool.
straight up say maps of territories
Yeah.
and that's what I'm referencing there.
That was also kind of deliberate. Like, so we did decide to go to college together. Like, we said we're not playing enough, and it's not working out with other people. So DJ transferred out here so we could make music together, and then also finish
you
our.
were initially here.
I did a
first
year and a half. I
alone.
did a year and a half by
I
myself.
never knew that.
Yeah, I started here halfway through my sophomore year. I actually had another band that
Yeah,
was
he was
doing
playing more
okay
than
back
I
in
was.
Maryland before I moved out here, but I just didn't, I like that band and I like those guys, but we've been playing together for so long already. I wanted to see it through. I was happier with the product we were churning out.
Yeah, that was
Interesting.
deliberate. I had that conversation with a student the other day actually because they want to go. They're like all the band members are in high school and they all want to go to college together or close together to continue their band because they like it and like their families are on board and stuff. And then they were like, he was saying all kinds of degrees and I was like, dude, you don't have to get a music degree, but like marketing, business, music industry, graphic design, anything you can use to help if you're going to school to stay in your band. So like I have a music degree, but I play music as my job and I write 85 to 90% of the music for the band.
And you teach.
Yes, and I teach
because you have
too.
the education
Correct.
to fundamentally help others.
Right. DJ has an English degree and a music minor, and he writes the lyrics.
And a theology minor, which is
Yeah.
where all
Oh,
the
yeah.
biblical stuff
Yeah.
comes from.
Gotcha.
So it was deliberate. It was like let's figure because you changed your major.
This is what I started actually in marketing. I just did not find it to be particularly inspiring or fulfilling, and because I was at a big university, I was at University of Maryland, there was not much accountability. You had to kind of hold yourself accountable. And since I didn't enjoy it and wasn't really...
you weren't probably really.
No, I wasn't invested, so I wasn't taking it seriously. So I moved out here to study something that I was passionate about and interested in that would also serve my future music career, because I was always interested in writing melodies and lyrics.
Very cool.
Yeah, I said like don't waste like your money or whoever
Yeah,
is
yeah,
supporting
yeah,
you,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like you can. There are skills that aren't just holding your instrument that
And you can still
definitely
have a day
use
job and still play
for
music.
I said well, I covered that too. That's a whole other.
Like.
But I think they want to test out if they want to do it like for real. Because
And
he's a freshman. The student I was talking to, he's a freshman. By the time you're a freshman in high school, whether you like
a lot of people know that they have an idea what they're inclinated that they want to do.
Oh, so I meant
However-
if you are already playing.
Okay. Okay,
Like
yeah,
music,
yeah, yeah.
musician
Just to be clear,
guys,
just to
they
clarify.
tend to know.
Yeah.
You by 14 or 15.
Yeah.
If you're like serious
Yeah,
about.
I knew
Yeah.
from the time I was in 6th grade.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a professional euphonium player.
We.
And then when I realized
Yes!
there was only 50 states,
Yes,
Oh
and
my
there's only
God.
one symphony in each state. There's only 50
Right.
spots for euphonium.
Oh
I
my
switched
God.
to bouzouki and guitar.
Yeah.
You could have been one of the top 50 euphoniists.
I was pretty damn good at euphonium.
You would have had to have
And then
been.
I just totally I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna play music.
Right,
and
to be a working euphonerer.
yeah, I ended up getting my composition in theory, and then had some concentration on my electives with songwriting.
Yeah.
Which is hence, oddly enough, what we're doing here, right?
It is.
So, one final question, and then we're gonna play. What's the last tune we're playing?
Sexual deviance.
Sexual deviant. So, in reference to lyrics again, because this is something I like to talk about.
He only wants to talk to me.
I know.
I was gonna
yeah,
butt in. We talk every day. You can go in the back, get some water, get a snack for. I like sugar in my coffee.
What kind of refreshments do we have?
So, but no, this actually applies to both of you. Is when we're writing the lyrics, but obviously it's a group effort because it's a band. Do you guys have like one formal message that you're trying to push through your lyrics?
I actually can be involved in this.
Yes. That you kind of want people to like attack, like you want, some people are political, some people
Right.
are, religious or spiritual, some people are attaching to just they want a good time,
Yeah,
Right.
sure. I would say there's no specific overarching theme that I'm trying to get across in our music. But if I had to put like one thing that you could take away from all our songs, it's that your story is valid and your experiences are valid, and just because you might feel alone in those experiences, you're not. Other people can relate to them. At least I hope so, because I'm the one sharing the experiences.
Very cool. That's beautiful, actually. I like that. Awesome. Anything you want to add, Kris?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I was gonna,
I like Folgers.
I was thinking like song by song basis. We do try to come up with like a theme, and because I don't write like any of the lyrics, but we do go over. We'll say if something's like not working, we'll say like we should try to come up with
Yeah, we do
thing.
that. in
And it
CSC
usually
quite a
is
bit.
just giving DJ more homework, but like I try to not have it be like that, where then we like work on stuff together, like we would with any other aspect
Yeah.
of the thing. If I say I'm having trouble with this tour date or something, like somebody else can like help me try to book it, right? It is collaborative. But one thing that we've liked a lot that we've been doing is trying to pick, if not like a theme for the song, like what is it trying to say? Like you said that already today.
Yeah, there's like a pyramid, but what's the top of the pyramid? What is it all leading to?
Or like, yeah, and how do we want it to feel? Because then it helps write the music also.
Right, if we're angling towards, would it not make sense to sing the lyrics from Maine and Lincoln over Yellow Roses?
Yeah.
This is a much darker sounding thing than...
Which is one of my personal favorites, by
Thank
the way.
you. I like that one as well.
Should have played that today.
But instead, we're going to play Sexual Deviant.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
And here is Sexual Deviant.
You're feeding into the sound that opens up to see more heads turning. I must have so much to learn. Don't build me up from the ground. You're feeding into the sound. Sexual deviant, you only want to know who's watching you. Smile, show your teeth. Behind every curtain's an open door. We're not for you anymore. That's good enough if it bears repeating. So shiny, sparkly, clean. Do what it takes to be seen. We've seen enough repeating. Sexual deviant, you only want to know who's watching you. Smile, show your teeth. Behind every curtain's an open door. You only want to know who's watching you. Sticky, sickly, sweet. Behind every curtain's an open door. We're not for you anymore. Sickly sweet, that's the way that you want us. Take your seats, that's the way that we want love. Show your teeth, the spirit is on you. Blah, 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 double entendre. That's good enough if it bears repeating. comes out unclean. Do what it takes to be seen. We've seen enough repeating. Sexual deviant, you only want to know who's watching you. Smile, show your teeth. Behind every curtain's an open door. You only want to know who's watching you. Sticky, sickly, sweet. Behind every curtain's an open door. We're not for you and Nick.
Nice. So let's briefly just talk about the lyrics of that one. What's that one all about?
It's about a English teacher.
It's not about an English teacher. Andy thinks
Yes.
it's about a pervy English teacher, and I'm like, why you got to be an English teacher, Andy? Why couldn't you be a pervy drum teacher, Andy? No, it's not about any pervy teachers. It's about how, in general, pop music is lacking in substance, and you're saying a lot of things without having anything to say.
Interesting. I dig that.
Which I would counter argue is like the point of pop music. Like they know,
totally,
like they know.
totally. And that's
We're not-
I'm
we're
not,
also-
I'm
but
not
it's
bagging
also
on.
not about a pervy.
No, it's
English
not about
teacher.
pervy
No.
English teacher.
Okay.
Before we get put on, someone watches 2 hours of us talking and they get to the end, they're like, Stop.Drop.Rewind. There's a bunch of neckbeards who hate pop music. Like, we don't.
No, we don't.
We use
we
it.
It's not
play pop
even-
music all
yeah,
the
That's
time.
older pop music, though.
what I'm
When
saying.
we say it's
Oh, I
two
see what
older
you're
guys
saying.
in a prog band, as soon as you say that, they're gonna be like, they hate Billie Eilish
We
and they
don't.
hate Lady Gaga, and like
We don't.
I like all that
We
stuff.
like both those artists and lots of other pop artists too.
That's just
and,
it's
you
used
know,
differently.
Yeah, it's not a sweeping generalization. It's not to say that those people can't really play their instruments. They can. It's not to say they can't write a song. They can.
Yeah.
They can't.
I stand by the song too, but I
Yeah, it's not even really a criticism of anyone.
No, it's just a statement.
Yeah, just an observation.
Gotcha.
because it is more about the.
So it's not like canceling anybody. Or nothing.
No,
No,
no.
no.
I would, I am not someone who thinks that my taste is the be all end all of goodness.
I've never gotten that vibe about any of you.
Not
Pictured in this movie
yeah.
film. Andy Sutton.
Yes, the most judgmental of us. No, I'm kidding. They're just music I like. You don't have to like it. Music I don't like.
Yeah,
you're
Andy's the
allowed
least
to like it.
judgmental. I don't think he cares what it sounds like as long as there's asses in seats. He'll play anything.
That's very true.
Uh-huh.
Andy, I don't have that kind of voice. I don't sound like Frank Sinatra. Oh, it'll be okay.
We'll just we'll
fine.
just try
Do you
it.
like the speed metal version of Fly Me to the Moon?
Remember that? And I was like
Fly me to the moon. Let me play among the stars.
thinking, and I just looked at him, and I think I threw like a drumstick at him.
Dude,
or something.
oh my
I was
God.
so mad. I never have done that, but it made me so angry. Not pictured in this movie film, Andy Sutton.
Yeah, we can't. We're bagging on him. He's not here.
I can only do that when he's not here because I have to be nice to him.
Andy, defend yourself in the comments.
Yeah. But
like,
cool,
you
man.
should.
So what's like kind of your guys' next move? What's moving forward?
Sure.
We got a lot going on. By the time this comes out, the joke music video, the song "The Joke," not a humorous
Yes.
one, music video will be out and going.
These
well.
are pre-recorded for those of you who can't tell.
Yes, the song will be up on all streaming
and we'll be
platforms.
super famous because it'll have been out a week today. So
Mm-hmm.
now we're big pop stars, and so Sexual Deviant is actually about us.
Yes, just cut that part.
Yeah, and then
No, we're keeping that in.
Song
Keep
is
that
about
in.
how pop music is good, and we are it.
and then this comes out the 5th. March. Oh, March. We have a cool, or the rest of this month now. It's March 5th. We are on a benefit compilation for a scene big Chicago music scene player and supporter. So Dave Gomez is he plays guitar and he plays bass too, and he plays music out of Chicago. So we've played with him all like that weird carriage house place that we played like one time. I don't think it shows anymore, but also like Tinley.
Slow
Evolution,
down, Chris.
Evolution.
We can't understand you.
I know, Evolution Music. I'm like trying to remember all the places we've hung out with Dave. Point being, Dave Gomez was diagnosed with cancer at the end of last year. So Larry Racinko, who was in a band called Get By, and he plays in the area as well, said, hey, let's get a bunch of bands together to play some of his favorite songs. You record it, and then also when people purchase the T-shirt or the...
It'll go towards the funds of helping him
Yep.
recover and move on with his life.
Yeah.
And hopefully bring him some joy as well.
Yeah, because he can then he gets a nice. It's like 19 bands. It's like a crazy amount of bands. So I'm sure it's only like $10. Buy the thing. It's the Dave Gomez Benefit Comp.bandcamp.com. We're doing "Memory" by Sugar Cult, the band Sugar Cult. It's just a nice pop rock or pop punk song. And there's a bunch of bands: Spineless Heartless, Park and Main, Get By, Lost
We'll have
Years.
Josh on soon.
Yeah.
Doing one of these.
All the everybody Counter Theory's coming out of retirement to do it. So everybody in the
nice,
area, because
cool.
he's been at everyone's shows. Nice
So
guy.
he's the guy that deserves some big time credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
That's
support.
wonderful. Well, that's really noble, and I dig that. That's awesome.
We're excited to be part of it. We didn't do much besides play a track.
But that's
So-
a big contribution. You
Yeah.
know? That's awesome.
Well, we're going to do a video of our own to promote that in March as well. Something up our alley, a goofy thing that we're doing. And then late April, we should have another single release called Dinosaur Bones. In pushing us into May, if you watch this long, you might as well know, we're going to actually release a collector's edition of all of the singles from the 2 years that we did singles as the EP that they're supposed to be. So it'll have its own album art pack thing. You get all 6 in the order that we want them to be heard in. So it's Floating Stone, Open Water, Love No Medicine, Words and Scary Stories, The Joke, and Dinosaur Bones, which one of those is only on our website anyway right now, and several of them aren't on streaming yet. That'll be on our website, but you also get we said a print possibly of
all the artworks.
Yeah, we're working on the package you get, and I know one thing we're definitely gonna do is you also get a live performance video. Since we can't have a release show for it, get wild, right? And so people have
Well,
something.
you could have a release show here at Region Buzz.
We could have something to take, but then they have something they can take. You get access to when you buy it. You'll get access to a full acoustic set of all the songs, and then we'll do a little bit like we'll talk about We'll talk about the song, kind of what it means to us or the writing process, and then you get a nice acoustic version of the song too. So it'll be a lot in the collector's.
That's great, man. I
collector's
like
edition.
that idea. That's cool.
Because you can
I'm gonna
listen to
write
it
that
on
down for
stream. Yeah,
myself.
let me steal that. Get it out in April, and then June.
What's your release date? Same date? Okay.
Yeah, June or July will be an EP.
Yeah, new EP.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm really proud of you guys. Keep working hard.
Thanks, dude.
You know,
Thanks, man.
We've done quite a few shows together, and I mean, Kris and I play together all the time, and we've shared the stage a few times, and it's just always wonderful to have like-minded people that just want to make good music and, influence others.
Yeah,
Means
let's not
nerds.
forget. You may play with Kris more now, but I played with you first.
You did.
Oh,
At the LaPorte High School.
Yep.
What was the musical?
We were doing excerpts from Rent.
That's what it was, Rent. Yeah,
we were doing
that was
excerpts
quite,
from Rent.
That was quite...
Yeah, you knew I played drums because I was the drummer on that
forgot
gig.
about that. Oh, my God. For some reason, I thought you were who's the bass player on that gig?
Not me.
Some guy, I don't know.
For some reason, I thought you played bass on that gig.
No, I played drums
You
on that
did
gig.
play
Dude, that was like
and
11 or 12
you
years
know
ago. There's
that
no way.
my fiance was in the choir as
Yes,
well. We did
that
not
is-
know each other at that time, world. But yes, my fiance was in the
That's
choir.
crazy. Well, we were young enough. Well, you would have been young.
I
enough
was,
that
yeah, I
time
would have
where
been
it
a
would've
junior in college.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been too weird. But,
So that's not weird now.
Yeah.
Now
would've been too
that
weird.
everyone's out of high school.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, that was good. The good old
What's
days.
my age gap again?
Doesn't matter.
Nope.
We're going to move forward.
moving right
Sexual
along.
deviant, we now know what it's about.
Hey.
Cool. Well, hopefully, guys, will be able to bring the full band back when we start doing the full band sessions.
That'd be great.
And please tell them where they can find you.
It's everywhere.
Yes, Facebook, Twitter. It's very funny. Instagram.
Much funnier than Twitter.
Spotify. Kris and I are both on TikTok if you want to
We
know
are.
what recipes do and do not waffle and what all my neighborhood cats are up to. Did I miss anything? Bandcamp,
yeah,
our
Bandcamp,
website,
our website,
Stop.Drop.Rewind.com. Yeah, YouTube.
YouTube.
We have our YouTube channel.
And
Look
what's the website?
Stop.Drop.Rewind.com.
Is there's no dots in that though.
All one word.
Only after the www and before the com.
Okay, perfect.
Stop.
The traditional
Stop.Rewind.com.
places.
Yes.
Yes.
Because when they search you on Spotify, is actually
You
dots
have to
in
put the
between.
periods. Yes.
Yes.
Stop period, dot, drop period, rewind.
Just to clarify, because some folks want to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Again, people, thanks for tuning in to a Freakin Friday Songwriter Session. My name is Nicholas Kazonis, your weekly host. I want to thank Stop, Drop, Rewind so much for being here and being a part of the broadcast. We'll